Okay, are you all ready to go, Madam Clerk? All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March 24th, 2022 West Elgin Council meeting. First order of business is to call the meeting to order with the adoption of the agenda, and it's recommended that West Elgin Council hereby adopts the agenda as presented. Could I have a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Leatham, seconded by Cammert. All in favor? That's carried. Certainly a reminder, as always, to disclose any pecuniary interests. Delegations, West Lauren Kiwanis.
Mr. Diltz seems to have, I've contacted him and he has not returned my information. He had requested it for this date and.
I could maybe fill in a little bit for you.
Yeah.
What the Kiwanis are wanting to have is, it says their Safe Kids Project Day, and there was a concept when I spoke with Mr. Diltz here in the room. And what they want to do is they want to have access to Miller Park, and they want to bring in different groups and organizations, i.e. the fire department, agriculture for farm safety, a number of groups like that, the Conservation Authority about safety around water. So I think what they want is just the ability to be able to use the park. And I advised him that he needs to call the municipal office and make arrangements that they have the parks for that day. And certainly, I don't know if you've heard anything about it from them, Emily.
I believe they're looking sometime in August. Yeah.
No. Well, I did mention to him that you would be the contact person to work through that. So, Mr. Diltz, I don't know if he has a phone. I've never contacted him by phone. It's always been by email. And so I think what we need to do is I can source that information out probably from another Kiwanian as to how to contact them, and then we can reach out to him to see if his plans are still on or what does he need. Any questions from council on that? Concept is very good, but we'll leave it in their house to come back with some type of plan. Not enough of that?
It is, sir. Would you like me to read the recommendations?
Sure.
Just.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I do like that.
Yes. So are you you're ready for the adoption of the minutes?
I am too.
So that the minutes of the council meeting on March 10th, 2022 be adopted as circulated and printed.
Mover and seconder. Moved by Rowe, seconded by Teresa. All in favor? That is carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none. Next item up is the reapportionment of drainage assessment for the Krupp, Schweitzer, and Hampton drains.
Anybody have any questions, or would you just like me to read the resolution?
I think Bonnie has a question.
Certainly.
So just to clarify, Mr. DeWild is being added into the drainage assessment.
Yes.
That wasn't before. Is
Yeah.
that kind of the right read? Okay, thank you.
So that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Janet Nethercott Clerk, reapportionment of drainage assessment for the Krupp, Schweitzer, and Hampton drains due to severance of land pursuant to section 65(2) of the Drainage Act, and that West Elgin Council hereby approves the apportionment of the drainage assessment agreement for the Krupp, Schweitzer, and Hampton municipal drains as part of severance E6721 as presented.
Okay. Moved by Rowe, seconded by Leatham. All in favor? Carried. Next item up is Emily, Operations Community Service Coordinator, Sports Literacy Program.
Good morning, Mayor McPhail, members of council and staff. So yeah, I'm here with you today to provide you information on a new program that we're delivering. So this is the sports literacy program. So we have partnered with Elgin County Libraries, specifically Rodney and West Lauren branch, to provide a program to develop fundamental movement skills and develop literacy skills and or library resources for children and youth ages 2 to 5 and 6 to 11. So this program will run first round in April, and then we are hoping to continue it each month for the remainder of the year, and then continue it and grow the program from there.
Questions from council?
Yeah, through the chair, I think that looks like a really super program. I hope that the attendance is good, given that a parent needs to stay with them the whole time. That would be a possible problem for some, so. And I'm assuming that's because there won't be enough staff to supervise a number of children. Is that the reason?
So through the chair, thank you for your question. Now, the reason we're having the parents stay is because we're going through 2 separate facilities. So it's not, the size of the program has to be smaller because of the library capacity. It's not as large as like an outdoor facility space. So because we're facilitating between moving from the library to a park to participate in the sports programming, that is why the parents have to stay for the entirety of the program.
Any other questions? Oh, there you go. I gotta look up in the corner there, Angie. Go ahead.
Through the chair, Emily, I know registration is open. Have you had many people sign up already?
So we have had some people sign up for West Lorne, and then it just went to the schools yesterday. So I have had a few more people register for the program.
Thank you.
How's your intention, Emily, of putting this up on our board signs, our downtown signs?
Yes, yes, we will facilitate that.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Emily Jogas, Operations and Community Services Coordinator, Sports Literacy Program for information purposes.
Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Cameron, seconded by Tallier. All in favor? Carried. Next item up, Lee. Accessibility parking.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, Council. Yeah, this is the Rodney reconstruction project. When it was designed, there was, at the time, there was no accessible parking included in that. And so now after the fact, the Elgin County Engineering has been approached and asked to include accessible parking as part of this. Based on the layout of Fernville Road, they've determined that there's no real good place for it on the main street on Fernville Road itself. Given that the stalls have to be extra long, extra wide. So then they approached us to see if the municipality would be willing to host a couple of parking stalls on one of its side roads to get it off of the main street, but still be included in the project. So I went with the one of the engineering staff back a month or 2 ago now, and we went and had a look at a couple locations that we had in mind. And really, when we laid it out and measured everything, the only place that was actually suitable for it is Mariah Street, just off of Fernville Road on the south side along the old Miller Motors display parking lot there. So as you can see in the diagram that's attached to the report, there will be need to rework the curb and gutter along Mariah Street, shift it over. It'll become a low rollover curb now that's accessible, and there'll be new pavement put in there and new pavement markings and signage to denote those 2 spots. So the cost of that is going to be covered by Elgin County under their construction portion for Rodney. So the only thing that it would mean for West Elgin would be the ongoing maintenance costs. There would be a little bit of curb and gutter cleaning, which we do anyways there. And we would have to repaint the markings each year.
The entrance onto Furnival, like from Mariah onto the sidewalk in Furnival, the entrance is in front of the post office, right? That's the accessible entrance for them. So I just wanted to point that out, that there is an accessible entrance onto Furnival sidewalk across the road.
Will we need to put any additional assistance such as designated crosswalk markings or anything like that?
At this time, the staff don't feel, Elgin County staff don't feel that it would require anything additional there.
The one thing that has changed here is we have a new accessibility coordinator at Elgin County. In conjunction, they also work for Middlesex County, and this individual is right on for making sure that everything that needs to be accessible is accessible. We had a report from the person at County Council the other day, and I think Magda, you are or have worked with the joint accessibility plan with Elgin County. You've done all that, and it seems to be come together really good that we're all on the same page. So it's another one of those opportunities that instead of us all going off madly all in all directions, that we can do it collectively with the county.
It was through that program that we realized that there was missing
Yeah.
those parking
That's
through
right.
developing that.
Yeah.
That's how it was discovered. Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Tellier has her hand up, sir.
Yes, Terrace.
Good morning, just through the chair. I'm just really concerned because someone who is a little more mobile, such as in a walker, cane or such, that's a long walk for them to get to our downtown. Someone who's in a motorized wheelchair or just in a wheelchair themselves, that's fine. They can, get off the curb and get to where they need to be. But for example, someone who's just had a stroke and has temporary issues with their mobility and is just using their parking pass for whatever length of time, not for their lifetime, that's a long way for them to go to access our shops in our town. So is there no other option to have a secondary one on the road for those people that are somewhat mobile, that would be in a cane or crutches or even a walker? They can't walk from Mariah to the that would be a lot for them, from Mariah to the post office. So do I ask the county that question, or where do I go to ask that question?
Through the chair, I can take that concern back to county engineering. But my understanding is that there is, with the way the Rodney downtown was designed, that there is no it would be very, very difficult. It would mean a large reworking of the current project to try and facilitate a parking space somewhere along Furnival Road. So, and which, if you're going to put it on the west side of Furnival Road, would be even more work to put it there than it would be to find a spot along the east side. So there's still somebody using it would still have to navigate crossing Furnival Road to get to a business such as the post office.
And through you, your worship, I actually attended the Accessibility Advisory Committee from the county when this was brought up. And that was one of the concerns the Accessibility Advisory Committee had. In the end, though, this suggestion of Mariah Street was their suggestion as a compromise, since it wasn't part of the original design of the road, that they were more concerned about the size of the spots than the location. They wanted to make sure that it was the ability for somebody to, it had to be extra long and extra wide. And so the county presented two options for them, one on Furnival and this one on Mariah. And the committee chose the Mariah one based on the fact that the sizing of the lots were safer, and it was safer for somebody with mobility issues to get in and out there than on a busy road on Furnival without enough width and length.
Okay, and then the other question I have, so the ones on Mariah, then they're big enough that if someone's getting out of their mobility vehicle on a wheelchair, are they going out on the street, or they have that little bit of buffer that I can't really tell from it. I guess, looks like they have that bit of buffer that they're not going right out into traffic. They have that lip there, that, I don't know the word, that room, I guess is the word I should be using.
The ones on Mariah Street are designed according to the OTM, the Ontario Traffic Manual. So they are the, we'll call it the legal size or the preferred size for accessible parking. So it does have the room front and back. It does have room on both sides. And as Janice said, that location does afford some benefits like the reduced traffic. So you know how busy it gets with cars going both ways and vehicles parked on both sides of Furnival Road. So there'll be less traffic passing people that are using those two spaces. And they're still, while they're not right on Furnival Road, Mariah Street does split the downtown core, like it's centrally located in the downtown core, whether you're going to one of the restaurants, or whether you're going to the post office or the variety store or something like that. It's kind of halfway. So not ideal. Obviously, the best case scenario would have been something designed into the project from the beginning along Furnival Road. But like Janice said, and in conjunction with the accessibility task force, this was their idea that this would be the best location for them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's one of the things that I guess is comforting, is that the people that are ensuring that accessibility is there is the accessibility committee, and they are really focused on trying to do the best that they can. So, Bonnie.
Yeah, and I tend to, sort of agree with a specialist committee as opposed to what my own feelings might be, especially since I'm not needing just yet to be using any accessibility devices. But just to clarify, did you say, Jana, that there was a low curb in front of the post office already?
Yes, so in the driveway to the post office, there is accessibility. That way there's an entrance, like a curb cut that they can get through to get up to the other side. That was why part of the other reason that they chose that location in Mariah. The committee did discuss this for, I want to say it was 45 minutes. It was quite the discussion on where it would go and how it would look. So yeah, that was a big one for them too, to make sure they could still access the post office or any building or anything on that size.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this issue? All right, Madam Clerk.
The West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager of Operations and Community Services, and the West Elgin Council supports the addition of 2 accessible parking spaces on the south side of Mariah Street, east of Furnival Road, as designed by Elgin County Engineering.
Just before we go, is there any need, Lee, to put in that this is at the county's expense, or?
I
You've
believe
already
in the
agreed to
financial
it.
implications I did put in there.
I don't believe it needs to be in the resolution because it's nothing, we're not spending money, and it says in there, it doesn't say that we're.
Okay, well, that's just all. I didn't want us all of
Okay.
a sudden to be responsible for something. So, okay, you all heard the resolution. Mover and seconder. Latham and Taillé, all in favor? That's carried. Magda, Elgin County lease standardization.
Very good news. We will be getting an increase for the library rent. Not that it's not fair. our current lease agreement covers all operating expenses for both buildings. But however, with potential increase going forward, we'll be able to put some money into reserves for capital expenditures, which is good. And then I will be bringing report to council within the next couple of months as new reserves will need to be established for both buildings and approved by council.
Okay, this has been something that has been kind of danced around for many, many years at the county, and the lease rates are not uniform across the county. And I think both for county planning and for the municipalities moving forward, this is a good move to be able to do this. And then, there's across the board increases as inflation and whatnot come along. It's easy to do. Funny.
Through the chair, yeah, it makes total sense that it be the same across the board, and this is a good, a fair increase, I would say, especially given that CPI increases are still added in. So my one question was if renovations happen at the old town hall and the library moves there, does this agreement cover increased square footage space, and would the library be amenable to that?
Yes, before we applied for that grant, we had conversation with the county, and they are aware of increased square footage. So, and it was pre-approved. It was, yeah, the application was submitted with their blessing.
Okay, I just couldn't recall whether there was any paragraph in this agreement that sort of confirms that any increases to square footage would be.
There's a county resolution that supports the move to that building, should we be able to renovate it, and it's in writing, so.
Okay. Should be. Okay, thank you.
And certainly the county with library services and going across the county, some of our libraries are quite small. And if there's an opportunity to expand the square footage of the library, I think county is very receptive to moving on with that, because it provides a better service to our residents. I think that's all taken care of, Bonnie, in future negotiations.
I really found it interesting to read this report and see the pictures of all of the libraries, because obviously I haven't been in all of them, just, half a dozen of them, but it's obvious that the county has been maintaining those libraries very, very well. I think they all look like lovely spaces, so.
And certainly we're very supportive of any lower tier municipality that wants to upgrade or improve or expand. It's certainly a benefit to the county library system. Any other questions?
So that West Elgin Council hereby receives a report from Magda Badura, CIO Treasurer, re Elgin County Library standardized lease rate for information purposes.
Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Tellier, seconded by Cameron. All in favor? That is carried. Wow, we're just moving right along here this morning. My agenda tells me we are now at committee and board reports. Okay, council reports from committees. Anyone have anything that they would like to? Yes, Bonnie.
Through the chair, just wanted to let council know that the Four Counties Transit met this week. We are receiving information about the bus purchase, and we've got further discussions planned for May 9th. We're going to be examining a potential bus that we are considering purchasing from the company that we have been using for a number of years and a number of buses. So we will be looking at that. It is a Canadian-made bus, made in Quebec. We are kind of swaying towards having a lift, and we're going to be doing some references from other municipalities that use a lift, because lifts have improved over the years, and that has been one of the issues that we were concerned about, was maintenance of the lift, but they are very optimistic that we will be satisfied with a lift versus a ramp for a rural area in particular. So that's what we're looking at this point. So we will have further information soon. We're going to get on the bus too and go for a little ride to check out the air suspension that they now have on them. So, which should help for our roads that are a little rougher, especially in the spring.
The driver's excited to get to test drive them.
I thought, Lee, what would you think about us suggesting that we take a ride down Austin Line to test out the suspension in the bus? All right. Any other committee reports anybody's had in the last little while that they'd like to bring forward? Just Bonnie?
With regard to the Recreation Committee, are we moving through those? Or
Sure. I mean, unless there's any more reports from county councilors.
county council?
Okay, moving on to Recreation Committee. Bonnie, you have questions?
Yeah, I just was reading those minutes and wondered what they meant by blended format for programming. Wasn't sure about that. Teresa has-
Teresa.
Blended format, I believe, would be online and in person. Whatever format would be available at the time. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions on recreation? West Elgin Community Center Board of Management. I guess things are winding down, or probably that's the biggest thing. Ice is coming out when?
March the 27th. This Sunday is the last day that there'll be people.
So we did approve some maintenance work to clean up the boards. They bring in a pressure washer, I guess, to clean the boards up every year. It certainly makes things look a lot better. So other than that, it's been a COVID year, and hopefully somehow, sometime, we're going to get back on a normal rotation again. Any questions from council on the arena? I think we have one team that's been doing pretty good. Certainly the report from the hockey representative. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it's one of my favorite times of years when the ice comes out of the arena. And we shut the compressors off. Yeah. Okay, that being said, Rodney Albro Agricultural Society, March 8th minutes. Are you still not getting notification of meetings? I would send an email to Dan. You sent one already to him, Tress?
Right.
Sorry. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Now, I did get a notification.
Now they have director meetings and regular meetings. I was invited to both the beginnings, so now I'm just wondering if that's how it's fallen off, is because they divided them up. Because I'd sit through information that I guess, and at the end it'd be lovely, and apologize that I had to sit through all that, because it wasn't really. It was more organizational, who they were going to retrain to be, say, the superintendent of baking and stuff like that, and how that looked and different things. So maybe that's what's happened there, is the only thing I could think of.
Well, if you have the opportunity to have a discussion with Dan. I know he's a busy man, and you know, he's taken on the role of president and secretary, and you know, sometimes things do fall through the cracks. So
Yeah,
alrighty,
he's doing great.
any other questions on Rodney Albro? Or the march on the meet? I guess the meeting, I have an email here. The meeting on the 22nd is canceled. I don't know what kind of meeting it is or what's going on, but just a notification that it's canceled.
Well, it's always over my birthday, and my birthday falls in the middle of the week, so I wasn't sure when it was. And these minutes didn't even give the date, so.
I only know just from being involved in the fair that they're assigned to the second weekend after Labor Day. And that's the way theirs is chose.
Okay, accounts.
So that the mayor and treasurer are hereby authorized to sign payment voucher 3A amounting to $282,310.32 in settlement of general road, water, and arena accounts, including electronic fund transfer 4955 to 499, online payments 887 to 889, check numbers 25898 to 25902, and payroll for pay period 5.
Okay, I assume everybody has had their, any questions they may have on the accounts answered. That being said, good, all right. All in favor? Oh, no mover and seconder for that. Mover by Talier and seconded by Cameron, all in favor. And that is carried. Okay, let's go down to the correspondence section. County of Elgin notification that we did finally pass the Elgin County budget. Do you have any comments on that? Alrighty. Seem to have been accomplished without a whole lot of blood on the floor, and I think it's a budget that keeps tax rates in line, but still accomplishes a lot of the things that need to be done. County of Elgin, Terrace Lodge Fundraising Committee Annual Report. Any questions on that?
Just to say it's a great report. I really enjoyed receiving it. I
Yeah.
don't know whether we've received fundraising group reports before, but it's a-
Dominique does a good job on this. And, Elgin County highlights. Any questions on that? Okay, that's easy enough. Middlesex County notice of official plan update. Anybody's interested, the times and dates are available if you'd like to go and attend. Township of Woolwich mental health support resolutions. Pleasure there. Seeing nothing, we will move on to the wind concerns Ontario setbacks. Yes, Bonnie.
Why did you look at me like that?
Because I knew right where we were going.
I just think this is a good review of what internationally is happening with setbacks right now, and the reasoning for increasing the setbacks. So I think that our official plan consultant should have a copy of this as well, just to give them one more piece of information to consider wording our official plan.
It was sent to them when I put it on the agenda.
Okay, and I just of note, the report did say that Dutton Dunwich has wording of 2,000 meters in their official plan, which is correct. The draft zoning bylaws are not yet approved, so they are still in the draft format for Dutton Dunwich, so it's not exactly correct, but that's what they're moving towards, so.
Okay, any other? And I'm just looking up something here for your. I'll get to it here in a minute, just for Bonnie. Okay, Town of Minnows resolution for support of Ukraine. Yes, Teresa.
I believe it's being addressed at 1 o'clock today by PM Trudeau. So kind of file and note and file. He has a press conference at 1 o'clock today regarding our support for Ukraine again. So
just for everybody's information, County Council on Tuesday, I brought forward a notice of motion that'll be discussed at the next meeting, that Elgin County would consider contributing a cash donation to the Red Cross on behalf of the people in Elgin County. So that will be a debate that'll be had on the 10th of April. And I think that we left it with staff to come up with a figure, and certainly donating to the Red Cross. The Canadian government will match those figures. It's certainly breaks your heart when you watch the TV. What's going on? Yes, Bonnie.
I wondered if, I like the idea of flying a Ukrainian flag, but, maybe as an alternative, could we put something on our signs with the Ukrainian colors or flag, or, the sunflower or something, and just say, thinking of our Ukrainian friends and families connected with them in the area, or some such wording like that might be a nice gesture as well.
And you're probably aware of this too, Trust, that Ann Smith is planning a Ukrainian ceremony in front of the old town hall tomorrow morning. She has asked, and Lee has made arrangements to, in front of on the building, on the old town hall, to have a Ukrainian flag on the building. And so she's, hopefully she's expecting some people with Ukrainian descent, maybe even some people from London coming down and taking part in this. What time? Well, I think it's at 10 o'clock. So certainly I just wanted to mention to council that anybody is welcome to attend, and her plan is to have a small little ceremony and then retreat to the restaurant, and she's hoping having coffee. So I think it's a good idea, and I think it'll work out. And I've been in contact with Adam, and I give Ann Adam's contact number, and you'll probably not thank me for that, but I think they'll get it worked out. Where are we now? Dutton Childcare Rodney Summer Camp rate reduction request. What's your pleasure? Bonnie?
I'd like to support this request.
I believe Lee has some information he'd like to comment, maybe.
I figured that when he turned on his button.
Yeah, through the chair. I think obviously they've put in their letter here what they received last year. They are looking at running the same program again this year. It does tie up the building. They're in there at 6 o'clock in the morning and they're leaving at 6 o'clock at night. So it's basically 12 hours a day, 5 days a week for the 2 months over the summer break. My thought on that, and they are planning on using the pool again this summer. They would like to use the pool as part of the program. My thought on that was that certainly we don't charge them, like obviously we wouldn't be charging them the full rate for the building. That would be $425 a day. So that would get awfully expensive in a hurry. But I think, we saw slight increases of 5% across a lot of the other facilities, the trailer park this year, things of that nature. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't do the same for the rental of the building. I mean, $1,000 a month for pretty much dedicated use of the rec center is a pretty good bargain in my eyes. I think the pool too, last year we phased it in because in the past they had never paid for the use of the pool before. That was always kind of included, I guess, as part of the program, you'll call it, but $35 an hour, especially if we need, depending on the number of children they have, and we have to have extra guards. All we're doing is just covering labor costs. We're not covering costs associated with operating the pool. So, certainly it's up to council what you feel. I don't think that a 5% increase on the rental cost and a full rate for the pool is out of line, or something even higher than that. If you feel like the rec center this year is going to have a new roof put on it. So that's, we're looking at probably between 40 and 50,000 for that venture. So it does cost to keep these buildings up, and like I said,
Remind me of the full price for the pool per hour.
$65 an hour for the pool is the full price. For the rental of that, and then for the whole haul, obviously it would be $425 a day if somebody was renting that, like say the gun show on the weekend that we just had. That's what the charge was for that. So there is the, sorry, Councillor Rowe, I just want to make a mention that the front meeting space, the big meeting space is set up. That's where the younger kids are. So that's pretty much set up. I mean, they can, for something special, they could move things to the side, but they would prefer to leave that set up all the time. The kitchen, they do have stuff in there. They're using the fridge. They're keeping things in there on a daily basis. The large meeting room is for the older children. So in speaking with daycare, and obviously last year with COVID, it was a little different because their rules didn't really allow to have shared space with the kids. Now, outside of COVID rules, there is the ability to share that space if there's programming in there in the evenings or something like that. That can still take place because the stuff that they have in the large room can be kind of just set off to one side. So it doesn't tie, it ties that room up while they're in there, but it doesn't necessarily, we can still offer things in there in the evenings, like for that, but it still is, I would call it pretty exclusive use of the building for 2 months.
I agree entirely what Lee just said, actually. And I do think it's time, it's the day and the age that we do put a slight increase. It's only slight, and I don't think it'll affect them at all. I think they're still having a good bargain. Yeah.
They are making money on it.
So
All right. Well, then
we
I
have to
don't.
recruit some cost.
Terrace.
So I've had several calls from the West Elgin Community Health Center recently regarding they want to work as partnerships with us, and they have no place to put a lot of their programming, and wondering why they feel, these are their words, every pass they have that it's pay us. They want to put in their garden, and they weren't expecting such a large water bill. I don't know what the water bill ended up being. At the time, I believe it was $800. So yeah, I'm just putting that bug in your ear. I even had a text yesterday. So they're feeling that they're giving something to the residents, and that we're here to look out for the residents, that we should work with them as well. That we should be, in tune with, I guess not in tune is the word, just be thankful that we have something in our buildings and things are going on and there's a lot of activity and they're able to ramp up their programming again. So yeah, we'll just put that out there.
How was that set up, Lee, for the garden over there? Is there a meter on there and we're charging them for the water?
Through the chair, there's nothing there right now. There was an old water line there that fed the horse barns years ago. That was disconnected and capped off back when the barns were taken down. So with getting water over to the location where the garden is, our water supervisor calculated a price to go in. I believe that's where the $800 that Councillor Tellier is talking about, to go in to dig down, find that line, tie into that line, run a new line from where that left off over to the community garden. Obviously, we have to put a meter pit in there because there'll have to be a meter installed there.
Yeah.
And So a meter pit and then a line coming up with an outdoor hydrant, like a farm style hydrant, so that they can access water there through the summer. So that's where we're at right now. I believe Mike provided that cost to the health center last week, probably.
Okay, so I guess going down the road, are they gonna be responsible for water usage there when somebody opens up the hydrant and walks away and just lets it run? Or are they gonna come back saying, oh, we want you to pay for the water too? Any thought when going down the road that far? Richard?
Yeah, through the chair. Well, the garden is fenced. And I know that won't stop, but they're also on those outside hydrants, there is a locking facility on them.
So,
But I mean, what else can you do? But I agree that if it's their hydrant, they should be responsible for it.
The agreement we have with them is they are to pay those costs. They agreed to that when we went through the property with them.
Right, and so once the water line is activated, they will be getting a bill. That was our understanding.
That was the agreement they signed with us.
Yes, they were
Yeah.
fully
They will
aware
be
of that when we
registered in their
first
name.
started the project.
Yeah.
Because I was with them when we did start the project. And that was always the understanding. Otherwise, they'd have to bring a huge storage vessel in there and fill it up with water, and it'll look an eyesore, and they can't beat having a hydrant there and a meter.
Do we know who's managing this project this year?
I've had no notification. I don't know whether Terrace has.
Terrace?
Yeah, my understanding it's Diane Arsenovich. That's who contacted me. They were expecting a water bill as per the agreement, just not one that large.
Angela, you've been very patient. Go ahead.
So through the chair, these organizations apply and get grants all the time, but yet they don't want to come forward with the money for the grants, and they expect us to charge the residents of the community back out of their pockets. So that's a little frustrating to me when, they get $5,000 grants and $10,000 grants and don't want to return the funding back to the taxpayers of the community, and then complain instead of coming before council as a whole to allow us to have a proper conversation. So, that's a little disheartening when, we have put a lot of staff hours and taxpayer money into doing things for them. And they seem to fail to see that. So if we entered into an agreement and they're not happy with that agreement, I would encourage them to come back to staff to work with that, or come back to council as a delegation, rather than solely addressing one single councillor as a whole, complaining that they're not getting what they feel they're entitled to. So I'm a little disheartened yet again with the community health center. I do believe we were talking about the daycare, not the health center issue right now. So I'd like to go back to that item.
Okay. There is I guess there is some merit in the fact that we maybe should reach out to the health center. And if you think you're getting a raw deal here, you need to come as a delegation and talk to us. Honey?
Just to put it in perspective, I think it's important for us to keep in mind as we reduce rates or eliminate rates for any kind of community program, to sort of keep fairness in mind when we're doing that. And I think at this point, I'd be happy to have the summer daycare program in Rodney at a reduced rate. I'm happy. I'm a little confused with the suggested rates. If it's 5%, then that's like $1,050 per month, which isn't huge at all. But then going to a full rate for the pool, was that your recommendation, Lee?
Through the chair, that was just, I was just throwing out numbers. You can, I mean, obviously you have anything between the full cost, which would be, you know, almost $10,000 for the summer if you're charging them the full rate,
Mhm.
right? Down to what was given to them last year. So,
So that, having said that, my suggestion might be that we increase their rate to $1,100 per month for the center and $40 an hour for the pool. So that's, I think, fair, but that would be my suggestion anyway.
And that's making a motion.
Yeah, I can make a
Do I
motion
have a
to that
seconder
effect.
for that motion? Seconded by Latham. Any more discussion on that? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you for that, Bonnie.
Counselor Cameron, were you able to vote?
Yes, she held her hand up.
No.
Oh,
I cannot vote. I didn't see this in the agenda.
it's in correspondence.
I know, I was reading the package from my phone last night. I cannot vote the
Okay,
conflict.
that's fine. Motion's carried anyway.
So I'm just gonna, I'll read out the motion, just so everybody's clear. West Elgin Council approve the rental rate of $1,100 per month for the 2022 Rodney Summer Camp and $40 per hour for the exclusive use of the Rodney Pool.
Okay. We had a mover and seconder, we voted on it, so I guess the resolution carries. Let's Connect team waiver of fees for the stroller walk in Miller Park.
And just to clarify, that is part of the health center.
Yep, through the chair, we received a request from the Let's Connect team, which Jana is correct, that is part of the West Elgin Community Health Center. They do run a program, or are planning on running a program this summer for once a month, May, June, July, August, and September, to be held at Miller Park, where they bring in parents with small children. They do a walk through the park, and then they have a lunch and social gathering after. And they are looking for the use of the pavilion at Miller Park at no charge.
We have very little input into writing anything for that, do we?
Yes, there's nothing that we need to do for that other than possibly cleaning the garbage, or, you know, checking the garbage after that they're done. And we already have a contract and insurance in place for that program.
Okay. Funny.
I guess I should have all of these numbers in my head, but don't remind me, is it $10 to use the pavilion per hour or something?
I believe it's 25.
Per hour?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't believe there's an hourly charge. I believe it's a flat fee
Okay.
for the pavilion rental.
Okay.
And that would correspond, it's the same fee for the pavilion rental at the trailer park as well.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm fine with us allowing this program to use the pavilion 5 times this summer, 2, 3, 4, 5, for free.
Okay, kind of the way that I look at some of these waiving of fees, these are other organizations that are putting together a function like this. Without them doing it, then we'd be the ones that would have to administer it and have people doing that administration. So, you know, there is an advantage for working with these people. So, okay, do we need a motion for that, or just?
For our auditors. So the West Elgin Council hereby approves the waiver of rental fees for Miller Park on May 17th, June 21, July 19, August 16, and September 20, as requested by the Let's Connect team.
Forward seconder. Moved by Latham, seconded by Cameron, all in favor? Carried. Yeah, I just want to circle back here just for a minute to the wind concerns Ontario. Do you, or are you aware of the multi-municipal wind turbine working group?
It was on our correspondence
Yeah.
last
If
council.
that's-
We
okay.
had a discussion about that last meeting. They sent
Okay. The
that
complaints.
informa- They sent the letter to us just to outline what the committee does. And I know that Dutton Dunwich did send a representative or two representatives to the committee. I'm not sure we're at the point where we need to have people on the committee, but they certainly follow what is happening with the current wind turbines in place in Ontario and the number of complaints and so forth. And so,
Did I refresh my memory? Did we get a synopsis of all the complaints and everything that have?
Yep.
taken place?
yeah,
Okay.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You get so much paper going in front of you. You don't
Yeah.
know you- Okay, Reverend James Patterson. Who wants to speak to that issue? Bonnie?
I guess the question is, do we have any property that could be offered to Habitat for Humanity? I don't know of any myself, but perhaps the staff do. So that's the bottom line question.
We don't have any vacant land. I think the potential lots that we had available, we sold them last year.
Mhm.
At this point, we don't own any vacant land. Already.
And, anytime, I think there was a reference in the letter to unpaid taxes and so forth, and we don't really have that option to take over land that hasn't paid taxes. So that really isn't an option to us either. So I don't know that we can, in hindsight, perhaps the property that we sold 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago, might have been a possibility, but we don't have anything right now that we could offer for this kind of housing, which, other municipalities do. And so we're in a bit of a bind in that respect from my perspective anyway.
I think one of the things that, if it ever comes to fruition and they do find a piece of property, well, of course, there's probably going to be planning costs and whatnot that are associated with that. So if they get to that point, I think that we'd be receptive of coming to us to see if there's some assistance we can be given in that venue.
And I don't think there's anybody on council that's not aware that we need housing of that type. But we can't just conjure it up, but we're all aware that it's needed. And that's all I can say.
Angela.
The only thing maybe is I think that there's a working group at the health center that's working on a long-term housing solution, is to maybe encourage him to join that working group, and maybe he can be part of that committee. I know I've talked to a couple of people on that board, and maybe they can all brainstorm together.
Yep, there you go. Tressa.
Through the chair, Mr. Patterson is on that long-term working group, so he is on his own looking to see and writing a letter to council directly to see if and when and if we have anything. So as most committees work, he's been given a task to do within the committee, and this is his task.
So certainly a letter in, probably should have a letter returned from us to Mr. Patterson answering his questions, and then he can take that to the committee, and then it's officially on file. Not good with everybody that we have our clerk or administrator respond to their letter.
Yeah, and expressing the fact that A, we don't have any land to be able to use right now, and B, if some is found by them, then we would certainly consider
Assistance.
breaks in planning costs and things like that, whatever.
We're fully aware of the need.
All right, well, I guess that's it for correspondence. Do we need a resolution to?
Yeah, we just received a
receive it, but there has been some direction. I guess that's been done by resolution, so it's probably okay. Now we have the reminder of the upcoming meetings.
I'm hoping to have the official plan policies out to you later this week, so you'll have enough time to review it
Good.
prior to April.
Like we all don't have enough reading to do.
Well, bedtime reading's fun.
I guess we're up to council inquiries and announcements. Anybody with a notice of motion? Any statements or inquiries by councilors? We had a report at county council Tuesday from social services in St. Thomas, and they updated council on our shelter in West Elgin here, and the woman in charge of it informed us that they had, as she called it, 0 guests over the course of its. So, and I'm not sure how this goes forward with the stand down of the Ontario emergency order, whether that is something that we'll have to deal with somewhere along the line too. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Bonnie?
Just to clarify, do you mean that the shelter and the emergency plans are connected in some way?
Yeah, the shelter was allowed to be there under the Ontario emergency plan.
Okay,
Yeah, that negated the zoning requirements to be able to have it there.
I see.
Under the emergency plan, it was allowed.
Okay. And do we know the direction of county in terms of the emergency declaration,
Oh,
or?
it's not our emergency, it's the province.
Oh, it's the
province.
province. Oh, the province. Okay.
And I guess to the our emergency, I've had discussions with Julie regarding that, and I believe Magda has with the treasurers or the CAOs across the county, and I think that their intention is to, with the city of St. Thomas and the county of Elgin and all its member municipalities, to pick a day and stand down the across the whole county. What that day is, we don't know yet, but certainly it needs to probably be sooner than later. But then on the other hand, are we still the only municipality that's open?
Yes.
Across the county, we're the only one that's opened up doing business as usual. Which leads me into my next statement. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to tour our new offices, staff have done a very, very good job in the design and layout. And I know that it's like anything else, it's they're still kind of moving in and emptying boxes out and getting things put in place. So it's a work in progress, but I'm very happy that things have turned out the way that they have. So good job to all those involved. Any other statements by members? Seeing none, any matters of urgency? Yes, Teresa.
Not sure if it's a matter of urgency, but the Legion back a while ago, we're looking at working with ourselves. So Mr. Phillips, Mrs. Phillips, Lee, myself, and Emily had a group going along with Bill Denning kind of on the side when he could help us out. Got information about the cenotaph, but they have a deadline now of March 31st to get those monies out of their possession, or it's not able to be used in our community. So wondering if we can get something kind of like the Havens Lake or whatever the case may be, something in place that those monies can be moved so they can still be used in our community while we're working on putting in place what exactly the monies will be looking like in West Elgin.
Can you set a trust fund up?
We can. So how much time do we have?
So
We
If you
need to
want-
establish a reserve.
So do you want us to, would you like to put a motion forward, Councillor Tallier, to establish a reserve fund for the Rodney Legion monies. Do you want it that way? 'Cause it has to be established by resolution.
Mhm.
I think that would be best. And do we have another meeting before March 31st?
No,
No,
can we
that's
do
why I
it
brought up
today?
today. I just had the email, so.
yeah.
Okay. Would they be agreeable to setting up a designated reserve fund for that project?
My understanding is yes.
Yeah, our clerk is feverishly writing a resolution over here to,
So how, Magda, how sticky do you want it? Like West Side Council established the Rodney Legion project reserve. Would that be enough for you?
Is there an amount of money that we will be receiving that we?
And we need to know
Mm.
parameters of what the money can be used for. We may need to call an emergency meeting, even if it's quick, to get this set up.
We need more
Sir,
information.
we
on
do.
this.
everybody
The amount
agree
that he had originally to Lee and I was 130,000, but that could have changed because I do know they gave donations to the Legion in West Lauren, to the schools. So I will get him on the phone today and find out.
Yeah, maybe even have him speak with Magda too or something, and we get the parameters, and we may have to call a quick emergency
we can call
meeting,
a
sir.
quick Skype meeting.
Yeah, we can call a quick online, because it has to be established, unfortunately, by resolution, and Magda needs more information to legally establish it.
How much time do you think you'll need to put that together, Magda? And
Not a lot.
we'll schedule the meeting.
Not, yeah, it won't be a
As long as
lot.
we have all the details.
Yeah, Tressa, how quickly do you think you can get the information from him?
Probably today if he's available.
What's everybody's schedule like? Monday morning? Oh, Tuesday? What's everybody's schedule like Tuesday?
Mhm.
You tell us what time.
Afternoon? Tuesday at 1? Does that work for everybody?
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll call an emergency meeting on March 29th at 1 PM. Okay. And if they need to attend, Teresa, let me know and I can have him attend. That gives me time to get a quick agenda out as well. Not that it's going to be big, but.
Okay. As you mentioned, you weren't sure whether this was urgent or not, Tress. I think it's very urgent. And thank you for staff to being able to react quickly to this situation. Okay, any other matters of urgency? All right, seeing none, we are now at our bylaw portion of our meeting.
So bylaw 2022-13 to adopt the 2022 operating and capital budget. The bylaw 2022-13 being a bylaw to adopt the 2022 operating and capital budgets for the municipality of West Elgin be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Okay, I guess we have talked over a number of months regarding the building of this budget. Do I have a mover and seconder for the
Can you just
resolution?
give me a minute? My screen just froze and I know I have one question in there.
Okay,
Just hang on a sec.
I love technology.
There will be slight revisions.
Yeah, there's a
to
couple
the budget,
hidden.
Not
hidden lines.
affecting, there's some rows that have been hidden, so that will be replaced.
I
Um,
think the other thing. Yes,
And I will provide you guys all with a copy, a final
the
paper
last
copy.
question.
Reserves.
The reserves
Yeah.
weren't the same on
Yeah.
two different pages.
The reason is because 2021 year is not done,
Yes,
so we don't know what the beginning balance for 2022 year, so,
okay,
but I will
Okay.
make sure that it's matching.
okay, that's it.
One or the other.
okay, getting back to the question, do I have a mover and seconder for the 2022 budget? Moved by Rowe, seconded by Cameron. All in favor of that? That's carried. Thank you.
So bylaw 2022-14, water and wastewater rates for 2022. The bylaw 2022-14 being a bylaw to establish the rates for the municipal water and wastewater services for 2022 and to repeal bylaw 2021-32 be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Mover and seconder for the wastewater and water bylaw. By Rowe, seconded by Leatham, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much.
So we're at the confirming bylaw. If nobody else has anything else to discuss, so that bylaw 2022-15 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on March 24th, 2022, be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Over a seconder. Aye and Rowe, all in favor? That is carried.
So we're at adjournment. The council of the municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn at 10:40 a.m. to meet again 1 p.m. on March 29, 2022, and on April 7th, 2022 as committee of the whole, or at the call of the chair.
Do we need to put in there our meeting on Monday?
That is the meeting on Monday, sir.
Oh,
I altered the resolution from what was written.
all right. You've all heard that resolution. Mover and seconder. Moved by Tellier and seconded by Letha. All in favor?
And just to clarify, the meeting's on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. All right.
So-
that was carried.
We're adjourned.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned and
Dog will bite me when I get home.